Hey everyone, Micah here with Electrek, and today we're reviewing the Engwe Engine Pro folding electric bike. Let's take a look at what this fat tire e-bike has to offer. The Engwe Engine Pro is a full suspension fat tire folding electric bike. That's a lot of qualifiers in just one e-bike. And they hit you right away with some pretty good specs too, so let me just throw them at you right off the bat so we can get to what I think about the bike and how it rides. First, let's start with the drivetrain. That motor in back is a 1000-watt peak-rated hub motor, and it wears an 8-speed Shimano Altus derailleur on its side, for those of you that like to pedal. A solid 25-ish mile/hour top speed is definitely obtainable from the motor, and it gets up to that speed pretty quickly with that kilowatt of power on tap. Feeding the motor is a fairly large 48-volt and 16-amp-hour battery that is nicely hidden inside the frame, yet still removable for charging, and it packs in 760 watt-hours of capacity. The bike claims 62 miles or 100 kilometers of range, but of course, as we often discuss, that's the ideal range on the lowest power mode. They also give a more honest range of 22 miles or 35 kilometers if you're in sport mode all the time, which feels pretty fair. You'll probably fall somewhere in between those two figures if you're being reasonable. Now, looking around the bike a bit, we can see that it rolls on a pair of 20-inch by 4-inch fat tires that are wrapped around mag wheels, meaning no wire spokes. That's a nice feature for reduced maintenance, not to mention that I just kinda like the look. The hydraulic disc brakes are another nice addition to remove another maintenance issue, though I'm surprised to see they only used small 160mm disc rotors, whereas I would have liked to have seen larger 180mm rotors on a heavy and fast e-bike like this. Then we've got that rear rack, the LED lights, and the fender set as well. And of course, this is also a folding e-bike too. Now, one of the most convenient things about folding e-bikes is that you can fold them down nice and small so you can pick them up, throw them in a trunk, something like that. The only thing is, with such a big folding e-bike like this, you lose a little bit of that convenience. Now, it still folds smaller, of course, and the folding is pretty similar to any other folding e-bike here. The problem is that this is actually a very heavy e-bike. It's 83 pounds or about 38 kilos. So even once you get it folded like this, you've still got a seriously heavy bike to lug around. I don't know if this is actually going to be a convenient folding bike, but at least it does get a bit smaller. So yeah, it's heavy, but it carries its weight well and the bike rides quite nicely, so let's get to that riding review now. Despite the slight lag on pedal assist, I can't really fault the bike's ride quality very much. I mean, it's got a good suspension fork up front and a decent rear shock, nothing fancy there, but together they give plenty of shock absorption, and anything they don't soak up, the fat tires will help mute as well. That front fork is hydraulic and it's definitely better than the rear suspension, but I mean, altogether, you get some good shock absorption here. The bike is also plenty powerful. I can't really complain there thanks to that 1000 watts of power on tap in the rear motor. If anything, the power is so nice that I get overly tempted to use the throttle too much, and I have to remember to sometimes pedal too. Both because it's also fun and because it can help stretch out the range to keep that ride going longer. The ride position on the bike is also quite comfortable and it lends itself to leisure riding, not really sporty riding. I don't think anyone is going to try and tackle serious technical trails with a bike like this, so biasing on the more leisure side seems like a wise choice to me. And then of course there's the price. At $1,699, I'm pretty smitten here, folks. That's a good price for a full suspension folding e-bike, especially one with a bigger than average battery and 1000 watts of power. I can't speak to how well Engwe's customer support stacks up against more established companies, so there may be a bit of a trade-off there. That's just one of the risks with going with a lesser-known Asian import. But just judging by the bike itself, I'm pretty darn happy. I mean, it rides well, it's fairly priced, and it gives you a lot for your money. I can complain about the small brake rotors and the heavy weight of the bike, but at the end of the day, I like the ride and the bike seems nicely outfitted. That's what I'm really looking for, and I'd say that's probably the bottom line for most people too. Thanks for watching, everyone. We hope you enjoyed that review of the Engwe Engine Pro folding fat tire e-bike. If you did, why don't you give this video a thumbs up? And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of our future electric vehicle videos. We'll see you here next time.